Nurses are concerned as patients grapple with Medicaid cuts starting on October 1st. Unless state legislators act, these cuts will impact more than 3 million North Carolina patients.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Last Week in Southern Labor is a segment that we do every week where we take a look at what workers in the southern United States are up to. Here's what they were up to from September 29th to October 3rd. In union elections, one of the functions of the government that is shut down right now is the National Labor Relations Board. So for the duration of the shutdown, we will not be able to bring you the latest union election filings. And union elections themselves will also be postponed. However, I do have one press release about an election that took place before the shutdown, but had not been certified yet. So I can go ahead and share that with you now. And that is that 41 workers at Breakthrough Beverage in St. Louis, Missouri, overwhelmingly voted to unionize with the Teamsters Local 600. The union said in their press release that the workers are seeking increased pay, better benefits, and safer working conditions. Breakthrough Beverage is one of the largest beverage wholesalers in North America, operating in 15 states, the District of Columbia, and Canada. The Teamsters represent hundreds of workers at Breakthrough locations across the country. In grievances, unfair labor practices, and court cases, now, in addition to violating workers' rights to a fair union election, and in addition to putting their workers in significant danger, as has widely been reported, Blue Oval SK in Kentucky, a battery manufacturing joint venture between Ford and South Korean company SK On, workers at the plant are alleging wage theft, saying they are required to do work tasks before they are allowed to clock in. They filed a lawsuit against the joint venture seeking back pay. Federal workers have also sued the government, trying to stop plans to permanently fire workers during the shutdown. We'll keep an eye on that. And in strikes and bargaining updates, Teamsters at United Natural Foods, UNFI, in Atlanta, Georgia, have unanimously ratified a first collective bargaining agreement that delivers significant wage gains for more than 225 warehouse workers. The union says the 5-year contract provides a 30% wage increase, Teamsters health care coverage, participation in the Western Conference pension plan, defined classification bidding, and Martin Luther King Jr. Day as a paid holiday. In the past year alone, more than 1,250 UNFI drivers and warehouse workers have voted to join the union. Since 2022, more than 2,700 workers have organized, bringing the total Teamsters representation at the company to over 5,000. The Atlanta warehouse workers voted to unionize last year. The AFL-CIO in Texas rallied outside a Dallas Wings game last week. The Dallas Wings is the WNBA team in Texas to support the players as they negotiate a new union contract. Women's basketball has been increasing in popularity recently, bringing in more revenue, and the players are seeking more of that new revenue. A company came out with an AI actor last week, Tilly Norwood, and said that the actor, quote unquote, is seeking representation. The Actors Union, SAG-AFTRA, said in a statement that the union is opposed to the replacement of human performers by synthetics, and that this computer program doesn't solve any problem. It creates the problem of using stolen performances to put actors out of work, jeopardizing performer livelihoods and devaluing human artistry. The union reminded production companies that they should be aware that they may not use synthetic performers without complying with our contractual obligations, which require notice and bargaining whenever a synthetic performer is going to be used. Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate. In political and legislative updates, registered nurses at Mission Hospital in Asheville, North Carolina, members of the National Nurses United, NNU, held a rally to sound the alarm on the hospital's poor performance in staffing, health and safety, and recruitment and retention, and meal and rest breaks. Nurses are concerned that these patient care issues continue as patients grapple with Medicaid cuts starting on October 1st. Unless state legislators act, these cuts will impact more than 3 million North Carolina patients, many in the state's western region. A new report by YouGov, Jacobin, and a couple other organizations polled messaging and party ID in 4 swing states and found that independents with a strong populist message generally outperformed Democrats. You can hit up Les Leopold or us if you'd like a copy of the report. We're going to be talking about that some more in overtime. So let us know if you'd like a copy of it. It's pretty interesting. The government is now shut down because Republicans don't want to keep healthcare costs low for poor and working folks. Several unions have issued statements about the shutdown, calling on Republicans to not raise healthcare costs and open the government. The Professional Aviation Safety Specialists, PASS, a union that represents 11,000 FAA and DoD workers who install, maintain, support, and certify air traffic control and national defense equipment, and more, said in a statement that a government shutdown could jeopardize the administration's plans to modernize the nation's air traffic control system. The union said that of the employees they represent, 60% will be on the job but not getting paid, 30% will be furloughed initially but subject to recall, and 10% will be furloughed. The National Air Traffic Controllers Association, NATCA, echoed those sentiments and added that certified air traffic controllers are classified under the law as accepted workers and are therefore required to work during a shutdown without pay, often subject to mandatory overtime, requiring many controllers to work 6 days a week, 10 hours a day. This leads to higher stress and fatigue, further complicating their ability to perform their essential duties. The National Association of Letter Carriers, NALC, reminded members and the public that because the post office is a self-funded agency, it remains open and operations continue as normal. A local president of the Union of Workers at the Social Security Administration in North Carolina spoke to a local news outlet about the strain that this shutdown puts on workers that she represents. IUE CWA members at GE in Kentucky were on CBS Evening News explaining how Trump's anti-immigrant policies were hurting their immigrant co-workers and their native-born co-workers. In internal union affairs, the North Carolina AFL-CIO passed a resolution encouraging affiliate unions to align their contract expirations with May 1st, 2028. And in listener submissions, we got a message that nearly 400 food service and hotel workers at Unite Here, Local 25, unanimously ratified a new contract in Danville, Virginia. No word on the contents of the contract or the employer, but with unanimous ratification, you have to imagine it's a pretty good one. If we missed anything, then get your union update in our roundup and let us know. tvlr.fm/contact or leave us a voicemail when we're off the air at 844-899-TVLR, and we will try to include it in next week's roundup. Also, just a reminder that we can't give you all of what happened last week in Southern labor on the radio, right? We have a limited time on the radio, so we have to condense and pull out the things that are really interesting. But there's also lots of really interesting things in the newsletter that's not on the radio. So if you want to get the newsletters, then subscribe to the newsletter. Comes to your in your inbox every Tuesday morning at tvlr.fm. Subscribe to the newsletter there. You will get the exhaustive version of Last Week in Southern Labor at tvlr.fm. You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.